Welcome to today's episode of Retail Initiative. I'm super excited for what I have to share with you. I just got back from a conference and I kind of had some arguments while I was there. And so I want to talk through those, especially those of you that have brick and mortar stores that are thinking about going online, or you've wondered if you need to go online if you want to be successful. So we're going to cue the theme song, and then I'm going to get right into it. The rules of retail are changing. One by one, corporate retailers are closing their doors, and some call it the death of retail. But those rules never applied to independent retailers like us. We're writing our own rules. We're here to answer the questions about how to grow your business, stay competitive, and still have a life. I'm Josh Orr, and this is the Retail Initiative Podcast. All right, so I just got back from a really cool retail conference for people that do consulting for independent retailers. It was a fantastic time. I love the people there. I love the energy. I love what they're doing. It was incredible. But something that I've noticed is there's this debate in the retail consulting world about e-commerce and what it means for independent retailers, specifically brick and mortar retailers who aren't massive companies. And some people would say that e-commerce is not the right fit. And I bet if you've worked with a consultant, there's a good chance that you got that kind of advice. So what I'd love to do is talk through okay, if you are thinking about going online, is it actually a good idea for you? At one point in this conference, a friend of mine was talking, and she said that if we want to succeed today in retail, that we need to reach our customers wherever they are. Whether that's in store or online or on social media, whatever it is, we can't be isolated to this one thing. And there were a lot of people that disagreed with her, and I couldn't agree with her more. She makes a really good argument for the fact that retail in 2019 and in 2020 is going to be about reaching our customers in these unique ways. But there are a couple approaches that I think that you should take if you're thinking about opening an online store. I'm really speaking to people who are the owners of brick and mortar retail stores. This definitely applies to you if that's not you, if you have been thinking about just opening a business and you would start that online. I think you might be able to learn a few things, but I'm really speaking to people who are brick and mortar retailers thinking about going online. So there are generally, I would say, and I would agree with my friend that spoke, that we have to reach our customers anywhere we can. And that doesn't have to necessarily look like a buyable store. Sometimes that's simply the way that we engage with them on social media. Sometimes that might be behind the scenes glimpses through things like Instagram stories. But a lot of times the best way that we can do this is through things like online stores. It is selling to our perfect customer wherever they are. So how do you know which one of those things is right for you? And this comes back to something that I talk about all the time, and that is understanding who is your perfect customer. Who, if you had one age, if you had to name them, give them an age, give them a job, give them a marital status, who is that person? And is that person an online shopper? And what I would encourage you to do, and this is where a lot of retailers go wrong, is don't think about, are they an online shopper with you? Think about, are they an online shopper, period. It's easy for you to think well, they don't shop with me online, so they are not online shoppers. But if we were to look at their credit card statement and see Amazon, Nordstrom, Amazon, why am I struggling to think of more? They are buying online. They are shopping online. They just haven't shopped online with you. So the cool thing is with online stores is you can reach not only your perfect customers that have already been coming in store, but you now get a national audience of more people just like them who can shop with you online. So the secret then becomes, how do you take the skill sets that you've mastered for your brick and mortar store, and how do you take those online? You do that by not trying to make your store appear online, put a bunch of pictures of your store and make people feel like they're getting a secondhand visit because they're not actually coming to your store. Instead, you take a step back and you think, okay, when someone comes in my store, what experience do they have? What feeling do they get when they come in my store? Then how can we put that exact same type of feeling in our online store? That is the secret of anything that you can do, if you have a successful brick and mortar business and you want to succeed online, that's what you do. And like, gosh, we worked with someone who when she wanted to launch her online store, her initial vision was like that big picture at the top, the hero image. She wanted that to be a picture of her store, and she wanted like all this information about her brick and mortar store, which I'm a fan of doing some of, but it was a very store-centric thing. And we ended up pushing her in a different direction. We took her through some exercises that had her evaluate the feeling when people walked in. And so she started asking people, like, what do you feel like? Like, what, when you walked to my store, like, what were your impressions? What were your thoughts? And that exercise helped her create an online business that really captured the essence of what she was doing in her store and took that online. And then she's had this like huge influx of sales online because of it. Now, on the flip side of this whole thing is the conversation of, is e-commerce right for you? And I would say, like, in the end, I do believe that most independent retailers will need to go online in the next 3 to 5 years. I just, that's the way the market is moving, and your customers are getting to a point where they expect retailers to have an online presence, that if they see something in store, they want to be able to go home and buy that same thing. I do think that this is in the near future. I don't think this is something that can be delayed. But I will say it is not as easy as just designing a beautiful site, paying some money with an awesome designer and putting that up there and assuming that you're going to be successful. There is more to it than that. So I would think through like, okay, if, as I've talked about before, you have these 3 elements of online success, assuming you have a good audience, assuming you have an ideal customer, and your inventory is proven, meaning you are a good buyer. You're not struggling to get sales in your store because your buys are inconsistent. If you have a proven business model, like, it's assuming that it's going to work. But we have these like 3 core pieces. So you have traffic, that's getting people to visit your online store. You have conversion, that's turning the people that visit your store into buyers. Then you have retention, that's getting the people that have bought from you to come back and buy again. And to succeed online, you have to have a strategy around those 3 things. And so we typically in our projects start with conversion before we focus on traffic or anything else. We want to have a website that we know can turn visitors into buyers. But then we want to focus on traffic. We want to get more people to visit our store. And then we want to work on retention. How do we keep people coming back and purchasing more and more? If you are not at a point that you can invest the time, the energy, the resources into doing something like that, then I would put that on a 1 to 2 year goal of getting there. But it does take work. Getting images for your products, getting hero images constantly updating, and all of that can be time consuming. And so that's something to consider. But I would say that this is not something that you can delay for years and years and years. It is so important. And the amount of clients that we've talked to that have been able to succeed online after they've had successful brick and mortar stores is countless. So if you are brick and mortar and you've thought about it, I do think this is something that you should put on the horizon as something to start. For those of you that are against e-commerce, know that I'm not telling you that you have to be online if you're going to be successful, but I am saying that we are seeing a shift in the market where your customer expects you to be online. And I think that within the next few years, that most independent retailers will need to get there. So I hope that this little rant from my trip is helpful for you in making the decision about if this is a good call. If you have enjoyed this, I would love if you subscribe to the podcast, rate it, review it, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram @RetailJosh. Shoot me a DM. Let me know that you enjoyed this. Or if you had questions, I'm happy to answer those for you. So thank you for checking us out, and I'll catch you next time.